This is the uranium sector review. What I'm going to do is a couple things. First, I'm going to look at the uranium sector from the perspective of the URA chart from monthly, weekly, daily, hourly perspective, as well as the uranium participation chart from a monthly and weekly perspective to give us a broader sense of what's taking place in the uranium and energy space. Now, from there, I'm going to briefly go through the weekly charts and kind of point out the few names that look attractive. And then since we're also at the end of month and end of the first quarter, I'm going to point out some of those nice looking weekly charts from a monthly perspective. So this might be a little bit longer than typical video, but I want to go through it because it's a very good learning experience to give us a better sense of where we are. Okay, starting with the Uranium Monthly. And I apologize, I've got allergies and I'll be pausing here and there to drink some water. Okay, so the Uranium Monthly here, notice it's just consolidating for the better part of 2 years, and at some point I think it's going to break out. It's got this very nice descending wedge pattern, and it finally got an uptick here on the PPO. So my hunch is that we possibly could start building a new base in convergence divergence, and if this breaks out to the upside, you want to see this break, spend a couple of months above this trend line, and ultimately break above that 14.5 level to confirm long-term bullishness. Weekly perspective, similar thing here. It's in this consolidation. It looks like it wants to break, but every time it approaches that level, it falls back down. So until it breaks, and it needs a very strong month to do so, it's still in a descending wedge. Uranium Daily chart. So Uranium Daily chart looks very good. It's just making, first of all, inverse head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders here. It's making consecutively new higher highs in its lows on RSI, and I think that it's setting up for a move back above the 50 RSI level, which can coincide with a move towards that 1330 level. On the hourly, here again, it's kind of tapping along this this downtrend line here, but I think it's setting up for the breakout to the upside. So in the short run, this looks like a cup and handle, and if it breaks 1270 on the URA, it should move towards that 1330. Okay, so here's the uranium participation. This is basically tracks the monthly price of uranium. That's the best tracker that I've seen of the index and of the price of uranium. And as you see here, we broke out from this downtrend, and now we're kind of retesting it from the upside. So it looks to me like it's a broadening bottom here that eventually breaks to the upside, but until it needs to hold that 50 RSI level at and if that breaks, this uptrend line does need to hold. But obviously for the last couple of weeks it's been showing some weakness. So let's see what happens here. Here's the Participation Corp from a weekly perspective. Here's what I see. It's this rounded bottom, and you've got this handle here. Just draw a couple of coffee steam, and it looks like a cup and handle that's going to break to the upside. But we'll see what happens. Until it does, it's just consolidating. So let's look at the weekly here. All right, starting with ALX. I'm not even going to go through the names here, just for purposes of brevity. Here's Anfield. It's consolidating above this downtrend that it kind of broke above. Its momentum is continually building new highs, but it needs to stay above this level or it can break lower. So watching this level very closely. With PPO above 0, my hunch is it breaks to the upside, but anything is possible. Here's API Energy. This one looks very good from a weekly perspective, looks very good from a monthly perspective. You'll see in a moment here. Blue Sky Uranium, another one that broke out and kind of back tested here this breakout point. So long as it holds that 50 RSI level, that could be a very good confirmation that this move is legitimate. And if it does turn around, it should do so this week and make a move towards that 3250 level. Cameco, still in this consolidative phase, needs to break out one way or the other. Alaska looks like it's breaking down. I'm not liking what I see here. Deep yellow, same thing. It's kind of breaking down. Denison also, I mean, it's consolidating below the 50. I just don't like the weakness it's showing, despite many of the other uranium players. So Encore Energy, this looks really good. Weekly, monthly, it's consolidated above its breakout point and looks like it wants to break higher. This could make this could be a 10 bagger just on from a technical perspective. Energy Fuels, another breakout candidate here. Look at this beautiful cup and handle consolidation. If it breaks above 350 on the weekly, this can take off and probably see double digits in a uranium bull. Fission 3.0, this one just looks like a bullish wedge. I don't know when it's going to break, but if it breaks to the upside, this can make a very strong move. It's consolidating right above this 38 level where it last rallied from, so this could be a very positive development if it can break out of here. Fission Uranium, another one that's consolidating, creating a double bottom with positive divergence. PPOs moving above zero, so this could make a nice move, certainly towards that 50 area to retest that downtrend. Forces Metals, one that broke out, retested from the upside, so this needs to hold. This 18-cent level certainly needs to hold, and for bulls, you want to see this break above 28. But I do like the direction PPO was moving, kind of dipped lower. Let's see what happens in the coming weeks. Global Atomic also broke out of this pennant pattern, kind of retests it from the upside, and likely moves on higher. Gold Mining, same thing, broke out of a longer-term downtrend, consolidating here, and if it can hold that 50 RSI level, will move higher. GVX Uranium, this one's got a great fundamental story behind it. A lot of the folks I respect on Twitter and StockTwits are big fans from a fundamental basis. It's consolidating here and looks like it wants to break higher, but until it breaks above that 13-cent level, for me, I'm not going to play it. But if it breaks and it looks like it's setting up to do so, it can make a very nice run towards 20, possibly 34-cent zone. ISO Energy, another one that beautifully broke out last week. This can go much higher from just looking at strictly at technicals. Laramide Resources, I mean, this broke out and it's kind of creating a bullish wedge here, but I don't like the way momentum is just continually heading lower. I want to see this break above 27.5 for me to look at initiating a long position here. Nextgen Energy. Long term, this is a nice bullish descending wedge, but until it breaks above that $2 level right now, there's not really much to see, and there's more risk to the downside from a technical standpoint. Paladin Energy looks like it broke down lower here. That's not good. Plateau Uranium, also kind of a bullish wedge here. At some point, if it breaks to the upside, that could be an interesting play. Purepoint Uranium Group. This one looks to me a lot like Your Energy earlier, just consolidated for months, if not years, around a 5 to 10 zone, and then broke out higher, retested, finally broke out higher. I really like this one. Might look at initiating a long position should we have a deeper pullback. Sky Harbor Resources, another one that's got a great fundamental story behind it. Kind of broke out above its bear bullish wedge, retested it from the upside. So I want to see this move higher towards that 42-cent level in the short run. UEX Corp, similar story, bullish wedge, but it's kind of consolidating and it's not moving much. You want to see this move above the 12-cent area for a run towards 20. And a couple more names. Your Energy. Beautiful rounding base here, and it looks like it's finally breaking out. I like this name above 80 cents. Another one, Uranium Energy Corp, breaking out. It's still in this consolidation between $1 and $2, but it looks like it's well on its way towards a retest of that 190 area. It looks very good from a weekly perspective and a monthly perspective as well. And here, this is a beautiful cup and handle. I'm not going to touch this until it breaks above 1, but I think this eventually has double-digit potential in the space. And Westwater, it's building strength. I'll tell you that much. It's building strength here, but until it breaks this downtrend, until it breaks above 25 cents, there's not much to see or talk about. Now, looking at some of the names we've covered from a monthly perspective, here's API. Interesting how it's just consistently breaking the Bollinger Band from the upside, making new highs. Really like this name. This probably sees above $1 at some point this year. Blue Sky Uranium, another one that I think is going to really take off right now. Look at how PPO is just consistently curling and building strength towards a break above zero. Look at the volume here. I think that this probably sees above $1 at some point this year. Cameco. This is interesting because it's consolidating here above the 50 RSI, rounded base. So it's building. Now it's closed the month above its 50-month moving average, and eventually it looks like it wants to break to the upside. And when it does, when this renewed bull market does take off, this is going to see 30s, 40s, 50s, and higher. So I really like Cameco as a major player in the space. Encore Energy, this is the one I pointed out. We've been initiating positions here, here, and here. We kind of traded along here. I wish we would have kept it, but bottom line is it's breaking out, and this looks like it can make a rapid move to the 30, 40, 50 cent zone. I mean, this is all blue sky ahead here. Energy Fuels, this is the one we pointed out. If it breaks above 350, the next resistance is around that 4 level. If that breaks, I mean, there's just green light ahead. Here's the Fission 3.0. So this is more of a contrarian play. Obviously, it hasn't done so well over the last couple of months, last 4 months, but the volume is really high here, and so there's quite a bit of accumulation going on, and it's consolidating right above that last breakout point in momentum, right over here at 9 cents. So double bottom with positive divergence. Eventually, this takes off higher, in my opinion. Forces Metals, another one we initiated a position in, just building higher highs and higher lows, and it's consolidating above the 50 RSI level. It created positive divergence. I mean, look at the move to 32 cents versus 28, massive positive divergence. So obviously it's pulled back here below its 50-month moving average, but when it does take off, this could see above $1 sooner rather than later. Global Atomic, another one that's consolidating above its 50-month moving average. Beautiful chart. Look at the volume here, and it looks like it wants to move higher. UEX X Uranium, another one that it's kind of built a rounded base here. The volume's starting to really pick up. I don't like it that it's still below the 50 RSI, so it's certainly not in an uptrend, but for the value investors here, this is a good opportunity to get a potentially great asset on the cheap. ISO Energy, this is a beautiful chart. This is what you want to see. It broke out, retested, boom, and now it closed the month right below the 50 RSI. So if we break out above that in the coming days and weeks, this could be a very powerful move to the upside. Purepoint Uranium, that's the one I pointed out. It rounded bottom, closed the month above, 3 months now above the 50-month moving average, back tested successfully. Now it looks like it wants to move higher. PPO is firmly above zero. Definitely will be looking at initiating position here. Your Energy, URG, another one. 50-month moving average closed above it, third month right now, and it looks like it's building a very strong momentum to move higher. UEC, pointed that out on the weekly. It still needs to break above the 50-month moving average here. It closed the month right at 50 RSI level. Was the strongest uranium performer, I think, from the juniors on my watch list. And this one can really, really run. If that uranium decision comes through from the U.S. government, I think it's U-238. If that passes, then that resolution, then this name is extremely well positioned for massive growth in the future. Western Uranium, here's the monthly. Obviously we had this big breakout, and now we've kind of had this cup and handle consolidation. Look at the support here. This I called it to drop to 70, and we dropped slightly below there, but this was a great opportunity to initiate a position. It's consolidating with positive divergence right above that level where it last broke out from. So if this can break back above the 50 RSI level, that's your indicator that this is indeed moving towards new highs in the not too distant future. Anyway, guys, I appreciate your follow. I appreciate your support and continued feedback. Send my way. You know how to find me, dave@moneyology.com. If you want to be a part of our premium service and watch more videos like this when they do launch around that July area, send me a note and reserve your spot. We got about 50 left. Thanks, and have yourself a great week.